So the next speech is from our budding Toastmaster Shramika. Toastmaster, please welcome her on the stage with a round of applause. Toastmaster Shramika, my recent adventure, Toastmaster Shramika. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shramika. I am here to talk to you all about my recent adventure that I had with my friends. It was in the month of June, and I and my friends decided to take a trip to Nandi Hills. The trip had just started. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. What you just heard was my disastrous attempt at delivering P2 speech. The speech that comes just after icebreaker. When I walked onto the stage, I was quite confident. I was ready to deliver my speech in front of the Qonverse members who were eagerly waiting for me to deliver the speech. But something happened. I blanked out. I never thought I could blank out in front of just an audience of 9 to 10 members. I was dejected, disappointed, and disheartened. It was the year 2016 when I joined Qonverse. I knew I was quite confident in my stage presence, but what I lacked was a stability one needs on the stage. To deliver a speech before an audience, one has to be cool, calm, composed in order to be clear and coherent, something which I clearly lacked. Is it? Oh no, where did you lose it? Oh, okay. So to deliver a speech onto the stage, as I was saying, one has to be cool, calm, collected in order to be clear and coherent, something which I clearly lacked. So Qonverse was providing me the perfect platform to try out my speaking abilities, fail at them, learn from them, and even try out new facets of leadership. So it was a no-brainer for me that I wanted more of this stage. I became a regular member of Qonverse from the very beginning itself. I took up roles very actively, the tag role, MC role, slowly the speech evaluator and general evaluator. It was my first term, as I said, and Toastmaster Vishal came up to me one day and asked, "Hey Shramika, there's a table topics contest coming up. Are you willing to take part in it?" Without much knowledge about it, I just said, "Yeah, sure Vishal, I will take it up." I had no idea what a table topics contest was, and it was my first term. So I was representing Qonverse in an area level table topics contest. And since Qonverse was hosting the contest, I had to reach the venue early in order to make sure all the arrangements were in place. Firsts are always memorable, right? So is this one. I reached the training room in BK Tech Park. I saw a seating arrangement of almost 200 people in the room. The empty room itself was overwhelming for me. Once the contest started and it was my turn to come up and speak, I saw that all those 200 chairs were filled and those pairs of eyes were looking at me for me to speak out something. 95 or actually 97% of those faces were new to me, and I was cursing myself for having gotten into that mess. The topic given to me was a setback is a setup for a comeback. A setback is a setup for a comeback. I actually had no idea that this was a very famous book title. I just went on speaking about my life failures, the failure I had in delivering P2 speech that had happened recently, and so on and so forth. To my surprise, I won the third place in that contest. And the top two winners were coveted speakers of Express to Lead. Even a photo with them is a highlight for me. I would not lie, this did boost my morale up, my confidence up. I became even more active. I took up the role of VP Education under the able presidency of Toastmaster Vishal. Together as a team, we came up with a lot of initiatives for Qonverse. One of them was having a special meeting every month where we would invite the entire Qualcomm to Qonverse meetings. All this was gaining us a lot of traction. And amidst all of this, Toastmaster Harsha and I got an opportunity to host a Ugadi special celebration in the newly opened C cafeteria. So that C cafeteria had it was filled with our familiar faces, fellow employees, everyone who knew us. I might know all of them. We entertained them a lot. We put up a good show. We got really great feedback. It was my first taste of hosting something on a large scale in office. That high felt really good. Everything was going really smooth, but I was about to hit a slump in my Toastmasters journey. Marriage. Of course, marriage was a momentous and a monumental occasion in my life, but it did take a toll on my Toastmasters journey. Of course, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm just saying it did take a toll on my Toastmasters journey. So Kunal and I had a long distance marriage for about a year. So both of us kept traveling back and forth, and the whole year was filled with this travel. This led to my absence in most of the Toastmaster meetings. I sort of lost touch with the Qonverse members, and Qonverse sort of forgot me. Amidst all of this, Toastmaster Gopal, my mentor, comes up to me and says, "Hey Shramika, I see great potential in you. Why don't you try for the role of president of Qonverse next?" I actually had no plans to do this, but I thought, okay, let me give it a try. So I wrote a speech, the speech one gives for the vote of appeal. I wrote that speech, I practiced that speech. I was quite excited at the possible opportunity of this, but I lost that election. I would say it did come as a setback to me, but as a setback is a setup for a comeback. I bounced back in my Toastmasters journey. I became active in the club again. I took up roles again. I built all of my friendships again. And the next term, I was elected the president of Qonverse. And this is one term that I'm going to remember forever in my life. Firstly, I think I had the best set of officers with me to help me build Qonverse up. No offense to any other presidents here. But we, together as a team, we did a lot for Qonverse. And I learned a lot from each of them. I learned how to lead a team, how much patience it entails, and the conflict management it requires. This was the term where I had the 200th meeting celebration burden, so to say, which was a big milestone for Qonverse. So my officers and I put in our blood and sweat for this. And needless to say, it was a huge success. We gained a lot of attention from BDC management. After this, I got a chance to host International Women's Day celebration where I spoke before Prashasti Singh. Prashasti Singh, for those of you who do not know, is a very famous stand-up comic. Hearing her say some good things about me in front of a big audience could easily be the highlight of the year for me. After that, Saurabh and I hosted the virtual live concert, which just happened a few days back. Another significant incident of my life. So friends, although it appears like my journey has been smooth and successful, but I did have my fair share of ups and downs. I blanked out in my very first speech after the icebreaker. I lost my first election. I knew I needed a lot to work on my memory and retention power. Even my persuasion skills needed a lot of work. And all of this work was possible only because of my mentors, Toastmaster Gopal, distinguished Toastmaster Gopal, and Toastmaster Vishal. I'm here only because of them. As someone has rightly said, failure, when you give yourself a chance to fail, you actually give yourself a chance to succeed, excel at something. So my Toastmasters journey had a lot of failures, and each time I failed, I learned something new and I excelled at it. So I am continuously learning and growing in my Toastmaster journey. Are you also learning and growing? Over to Toastmaster Teja. Thank you.